We got some good news on the injury front today as AJ Minter is back with the team. Now, during his rehab outings, his velocity was still down a tick, so something to monitor moving forward. But obviously, they wouldn't be bringing him back if they didn't feel like he was 100% healthy. So we'll see how he looks. Very exciting news. Dosbel Hernandez goes down in his spot, which, frankly, it's just an embarrassment of riches in this Braves bullpen because Dosbel Hernandez is a stud. I mean, that guy has pitched in some big moments at a young age this season where a lot of people have been like, are we really using Dosbel Hernandez? And then after he finishes outing, they're like, oh yeah, like we can use him in these situations. I mean, that guy belongs on a major league roster and he belongs on the Braves major league roster sooner rather than later. That's going to be a permanent fix. For now, he has options. It makes sense. Minter's back. Obviously, one of the best Braves reliever we've had in franchise history, frankly. So a huge boost at a time where the Braves need it. Still 8 games back in the division. Big week of baseball at home against the Giants, at home against the Phillies. Would just be huge if we could come out the other end of this week and knock off a couple games and be sitting around 6 games back as the All-Star break approaches.
Yeah, I think, you nailed it right there. Dosbel is going to be back in Atlanta. And I'd venture to say, thinking way too far down the road, he's going to have a couple of big moments in the postseason. I firmly believe that he's got the stuff. Balls too. He's got it. Like you said, there was a couple of moments where I was like I was like, why are we doing this? And then you saw it and you'd be like, okay, I see why we put Dosbel in there. But you mentioned it. It's just an administrative thing. It's just a roster management thing. He was the only guy other than Dylan Lee that had options. 9 outings, 9 2/3, or maybe 9 1/3 innings of no run ball from Dosbel. But when you're talking about AJ Minter, I think I did just see somebody. It may have been the Bally Sports Braves account. Somebody tweeted something that AJ Minter is the 3rd most valuable Braves reliever in franchise history. Up there with Greg Kimble. Like, that is unbelievable stuff. Not to mention that he's another guy that, could sign one of those weird extensions, the Braves blue box in the middle of the week where nobody's expecting it. That's not something we should forget about. Velocity down, but if you're talking about a guy like AJ Minter, I mean, I wouldn't really be too concerned with that. Now, if it's an extended period, where he's around 94, that's a problem. But I think he's just making his way back. You got to trust the Atlanta Braves and their pitching staff if they think that he's coming, if he's ready to come back right now.
Yeah, I mean, if this was the playoffs, like if the playoffs started tomorrow, there's zero doubt in my mind Dosbel Hernandez is on this roster for somebody. I don't know who it would be, but he would definitely be, without a doubt, on this roster. The guy's shown enough. It's just a matter of time before he's a permanent fixture in Atlanta's bullpen, and it wouldn't even be surprising. I mean, you just mentioned it. AJ Minter is a free agent at the end of the season. If Dosbel Hernandez is one of the arms that they start using in those setup roles, he could be the future setup guy for the Atlanta Braves. I mean, he's got that good of stuff, and he's had good stuff in the minors. This is something he's been a dominant pitcher over the last several seasons in the minors, and now we just got our first glimpse of it, a really extended stretch in the majors, and it's just a matter of time before he's permanently here. Another guy, Ian Anderson, makes his first rehab assignment above the rookie ball level. His velocity was also down a tick, in those FCL and those Florida Complex League games. He was up around 94, which is about where he was, or exactly where he was pre-injury, pre-Tommy John surgery, which happened August of 2022. But still, 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, or 0 runs, 1 strikeout, pretty good stuff. He's definitely working his way back. Again, I don't expect anything out of him, but there is the potential for him to potentially make an impact at some point down the road. And it probably won't be soon. They're going to take things slowly. I mean, Spencer Schwellenbach, I know he gave up 4 runs, and we've got to figure out, hey, Spencer, we don't have that blow up inning. Like, that 5th inning seems to be a little bit of an issue, man. But every other inning, that guy, he is impressive, man. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. If you don't understand how prospects works, that's your problem. I can tell you that guy's got some stuff, and he is good.
Yeah, I don't understand. I get so frustrated and mad about random people on social media, and I don't know why. Maybe I secretly enjoy it, but what is your idea of?
I think you do. I think you're a sick boy.
I am sick. What is your idea of a 5th starter in a major league rotation? a sub 3 guy who's in the conversation for the Cy Young. Like, shut up. Like, do you not understand how this sport works? And if we're talking about the Atlanta Braves as a whole, we're talking about 3 guys that a lot of teams, I would argue pretty much every single team in baseball would love to be having this 5th spot rotation battle. We got AJ Smith-Shawver, who's still on the shelf. He will be back. He hasn't started anything, but he will be back. Bryce Elder and Spencer Schwellenbach all battling it out for that final 5th spot, the final spot in your rotation. And a guy that in Spencer Schwellenbach who's got good stuff that plays at the major league level, stuff that is legitimate middle of the rotation, long-term stuff. Like, this guy has got it. And of course you're going to talk about, well, he's got the 15 ERA in the 5th, and shut up. Like, he's made 5 starts. Shut up. What are we doing? This isn't like, the October baseball isn't tomorrow. We got time to figure this out. And like you mentioned, have you ever watched a pitcher develop? Like, he's going to go through some more lumps as well. This guy isn't going to come out of the gates, skip AAA entirely, and be Spencer Strider. Like, what are we doing? Has nobody looked around and been like, oh, that's kind of an idiotic statement? I was getting so mad. I was on vacation getting angry at people being like complaining about Spencer Schwellenbach's outing, being like, well, the first 2 times through the order don't even matter. Maybe he's better fit for the bullpen. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is idiotic. I was so frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get frustrated at people like that because I just don't even read it. But yeah, I mean, Schwellenbach, he's got good stuff. I mean, and you look at the advanced metrics, everything suggests he's got enough to be a starter right now in a major league rotation. Even with those struggles in the 5th inning, all of his advanced metrics suggest he is right now, as currently constructed, a middle of the rotation starter. And then if you add Ian Anderson into the mix of the 3 guys you just mentioned, the Braves, they don't really have any starting pitching issues, which is why I don't expect them to acquire one at the trade deadline over the next several weeks. I think they stick with what they've got, and I think it'll be just fine.